What's up? It's Wednesday, March 29th. Thanks for tuning into another week of the podcast that gives you the most honest viewpoints on the week's hottest sports topics. What's up? It's the Chasing Points podcast, episode 92. That's Brandon. I'm Sam. Why are you laughing at me, man? I nailed it.
No comment. Continue with your intro.
Okay. Well, we're back. Off last week, but we're here now. Busy week ahead of us, busy week behind us, a lot going on. It is spring. Happy spring, Brandon. How you been?
I'm all right. Been up and down, but I'm okay. How about yourself?
Hey, man, every day is a new adventure.
Yep, that is
just
for
happy
sure.
to be here. So, as I mentioned, a lot to unpack. We have some NFL news, certainly looking ahead as the baseball season starts this Thursday and NBA playoffs around the corner. But Hayes, I think we have to start with the men's and women's Final Four. Some great games in both tournaments leading up to this past weekend, where I guess one of the big storylines here as we look ahead to the I guess we'll start with the men here. Saturday, April 1st, men's Final Four. And the predominant thing you see here is no top seeds in this year's contest, but certainly it's been an exciting one. FAU takes on San Diego State on Saturday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time, and then Miami and UConn about 8:50. So your thoughts so far on the tournament and looking ahead to the Final Four?
Great games thus far. Every game has pretty much almost been a nail biter except for UConn's last game, which was an absolute blowout.
Last two games
from start to finish. They've absolutely demolished them. So I'll just start right there. Seeing where UConn started off the season and how Dan Hurley has just reeled in this team. And they've turned it completely around. I think before the tournament, they let off 13 straight just to come in. So they came in hot and they continue to be hot. But I also want to give a shout out to UConn's bigs, because in this day and age, when it comes to basketball, you don't really think about bigs outside of the Jokic and the Joel Embiids and the Giannis Antetokounmpos of the world, right? It's a guard world. You're thinking of spacing the floor, shooting lights out, Steph Curry range, penetrating type things. But you don't really think of the big man anymore. So just seeing UConn have two true big men, it is absolutely wild with Donovan Clingan. And then how do you say his first name? I don't even remember how to say his name, even though I've heard it like mad times. Adama Sanogo. That's how you pronounce his last name?
I'm not sure on the
I forgot how to pronounce it. I've heard it like 20,000 times. But anyway, just seeing how they played and absolutely dominated inside, and they're playing bully ball. It's pretty much their bigs tower over everybody. I mean, Donovan is 7'2", and absolutely towering over people. Slow, just watching his pace just reminds me of old school, like 90s basketball, just running up and down the court. So for that's wild. But then the story of the tournament, Marquise Noel from Harlem went and left and played in Manhattan, Kansas, only to come back and shine in Manhattan in Madison Square Garden for K-State. Just seeing undersized guard, but absolutely crushing people out there. Gets injured, still drops 20 points, still has 19 assists in the game. Just a wild experience to see that. It was pretty cool to see his brother was mic'd up, and the celebrities he brought out to the Garden just to watch him. There was Cameron, there was the Locks out there, so Jadakiss and Styles P out there. So there's a bunch of people that just came out to see him play and support a bunch of New York players there. So super cool. But then also, I think my biggest takeaway, Sam, is not people saying this is the year of the underdog. I say it's the year of seeing the playing field level because of the transfer portals. These kids are going to where they want to go after not being stuck in a college and riding the bench for all the 4 years that they have of eligibility, or 5, and being able to go to where they want, and then working together to build a team that we wouldn't see a FAU, we wouldn't see a San Diego State get to these levels if players weren't able to move around. And I just love that players and talent is just good across the board. So for me, it's just a leveling the playing field, not an underdog year, but I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, man, I think you made an awesome point there with the portal just freeing up a lot of this talent that was just sitting on the bench, not waiting their turn, waiting to get into a rotation. And now they may not be at these star schools, if you will, but they're finding places to play and developing that talent and learning how to play as a team. Yeah, I'll focus on this UConn team, obviously, spending a lot of time in UConn, have roots there too. Certainly have watched them a little closer, but it's a well even mix of talent on this team. They're playing old school basketball. There's young guys on there, of course. There's some older age guys too, and they're just playing good team basketball. They came in hot. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. We really liked how they came into the tournament, certainly taking care of business in the Big East, and just riding the hot hand there. And Hurley's got them playing. They haven't made it close in the last couple games, and should be a good one on Saturday night. I think I haven't looked at any of the odds or too much of that, but I have to imagine they're probably the favorite at this point to take it all, just from a betting action and just the momentum that they have coming in. But just really cool stories too. FAU, San Diego State, Miami, these teams are 9 and 5 seeds, and UConn's a 4 seed. So yeah, it's you brought this up a couple weeks ago. This is very tight. The competition on these teams going into the tournament was very close. There was certainly the 1 and 2 seeds get all the action on the books, all the love in the brackets, but there wasn't much that could differentiate a 1 seed from a 4 seed, or in this case, and just a lot of great basketball being played. And this is the moment where the cream rises to the top, right? The teams win these games at this point, and it's just been fun to watch, especially from I admit it, I don't watch nearly as much college basketball as I used to, but this is always a special time of the year, and I've certainly been engaged. So it's just been fun to watch.
Shout out to Princeton and Fairleigh Dickinson as well.
Hell yeah, yeah,
for the runs that they made this year too. It's just, I love the quote unquote underdog. But
Cinderella, right?
To the point that you said, and I think that was so eloquently said, is this tournament is about teams. It's not about the best player. Yes, sometimes the best player can will you to the next spot, but Alabama had several of the best players, and they were the number 1 overall, and they're at home watching just like you and I are. So that's no shot at them. It just happens. It's just like any time during the playoffs. We watched it during football. As a team gets hot, that wasn't a team that we expected, and they get into a wild card game, and then they go absolutely nuts, right? And then it's just, you have to have that cohesion, that team camaraderie, and just go from there. So
yeah, it's something to be said about these elimination games too, like one and done. Anything can happen. We've seen it. What was it, K-State and Michigan State a couple weeks ago, like overtime, and then Michigan State lost. Like, it just back and forth for 4 quarters, and then the extra time. So I mean, anything's possible, right? I hate to use cliches with this, but I mean, that's why you watch. You watch because the number 1 overall seed gets ousted pretty quickly, and just saw it over the weekend. Most the brackets that were still alive were busted when Houston got knocked out, myself included. I think I was at 1.6 in my entire company's pool out of over 100 people, and I had Houston, and again, I guess don't nearly watch as much as you, but had a pretty good feeling, and now they're home watching it just like me and you, as you mentioned. So
it's crazy, Sam, because every year everybody that fills out a bracket has a pretty good feeling, and
yeah, sure.
then the first 5 games your bracket gets busted, and it's like, well, I guess that feeling's gone. So yeah, let's go into the women's because that's been extremely interesting too.
Yeah, a lot going on the women's side too. Again, the Final Four for the men start on Saturday, or is on Saturday. Women's Friday, March 31st. Number 3 seed LSU against Virginia Tech, 7 o'clock, and then Iowa, number 2 Iowa, and of course number 1. Are they number 1 overall?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I'd imagine that. Again, watched the UConn games, and sadly, they got ousted over the weekend. But number 1 Gamecocks, South Carolina. And just I haven't watched enough of outside of UConn, I will admit that, but these, the women's bracket is no like secondary bracket. These women play tough, they play hard, and it's just been fun to watch. And obviously, what Coach Saley and South Carolina have done over the last few years is, they've really cemented kind of that, their flag here, and you see the power shift now in women's basketball, and something that Coach Oriema and UConn have had for so long, and now it's like one of their own in a way, just because she was on the staff and has ties there, and just they have to be the favorite to take this whole thing home, and they're probably the favorite the entire time. But what's your thoughts on the women's bracket, especially again, we'll mention I haven't watched nearly as much as you, but
the game of Iowa against South Carolina is going to be very, very interesting because of Aaliyah Boston for South Carolina, who is, in my opinion, the best player in college basketball.
Absolutely.
But right there, she's 1A, 1B is Caitlin Clark, who's playing for Iowa. And I basically call her Katniss Everdeen because she is money from distance. Like, she is straight archery at its best. She has been called by plenty of people the female Steph Curry. But out of respect for her, I won't call her that. I will call her Caitlin Clark because she put in the work herself. Steph is Steph. Caitlin is Caitlin. And she's doing what she needs to do. She's literally, Steph played in the tournament along with plenty of other shooters. She is the only basketball player, men's or women's, to have a 40-point triple-double in the history of the tournament. She is the only person to have that. She is an absolute baller. And what she is also extremely selfless as well. So I love how she plays. But then, as I mentioned before, Aaliyah Boston is just so dominant. That Carolina team is absolutely so dominant. So that should be a really, really good matchup. LSU they've been playing extremely well. They've come together at the right time. I haven't watched Virginia Tech like that to know that, but I've been seeing what LSU has been doing and the way that they've been playing in this tournament. They are hot right now. So I would not be surprised if I saw LSU beat Virginia Tech. But that'll be very, very interesting to see. I still, at the end of the day, have Carolina taking it all, though. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, Aaliyah Boston, like, hands down, first pick in WNBA draft when, I think
if she goes this year,
April, if she goes out. No doubt. Correction too. Dawn Staley didn't play for UConn. I know she coached with Gino for USA Basketball. I got confused there, but certainly they've had their tiffs in years past, and just words in the media and whatnot. But yeah, no, and defending champs. Just yeah, it's gonna be a fun weekend, and the women's finals Tuesday. So you have some basketball on Tuesday. That's going to be in Dallas, and the men Monday in Houston. So the state of Texas is alive with college basketball, for sure. So winners for both brackets. Who you got, Brandon?
UConn and Carolina.
Yeah, same. I actually wrote you see it? I wrote right there.
I literally did see you write same, and I laughed.
I wrote same. Same, bro. Same. So that's our comprehensive March Madness update there, though. But fun weekend ahead of basketball, and last weekend was fun too. Appointment watching for sure. Hey, headed over to the NFL. We are getting closer and closer to a time where Daniel Snyder and his, I don't know, business, his family, whatever, will not be owning the Washington Commanders. There's a couple rumored bids to be in place here. One with the 76 Philadelphia 76ers governor Josh Harris and some guy named Magic Johnson for $6 billion. There's also another $6 billion bid here for the Commanders, and it's just that's wild. I think that was what the Snyders were asking for.
Sam, say the billionaire's last name.
I can't.
I know that's why you avoided it.
I know.
I was waiting, everybody.
I know you
for
were
Sam
waiting
to say the last name, and he said another billionaire, and I said, Sam's trying to get out.
I don't
of
know
this.
who he is.
I don't either, but I just wanted to hear you try to pronounce the last name, and you avoided it, so I wasn't letting you get away.
I'm not going to say it because if I were you, what I would have done is clipped it and put it on Instagram like a video.
Nope. I needed this for myself because I watched you. I watched you go through this.
Very Greek.
I said he was like another billionaire had another billionaire. I was just like, Sam's not trying to put that last name at all.
There's multiple $6 billion bids. What's this? You put this quote in here, Mike McDaniel's reaction to the valued price of the Commanders.
Yeah, he was.
Wow, they can't even. They're worth that much, and I couldn't get a free cup of coffee.
Literally what he said,
really?
Word for word. He said that when
Miami Dolphin head coach.
Yes,
McDaniel?
yes, literally said that word for word. It is absolutely
fantastic.
Hilarious. His reaction, he was like, "Wow." He was like, "And I couldn't get a free cup of coffee." It's crazy.
That's wild because he probably was on those coaching staffs, right, with McVay and Shanahan and Papa Shanahan and all that. So that's wild, man. Go figure, right?
He's a soundbite waiting to happen.
So we're almost at a time where we can cheer for the Commanders again. That's cool. I just don't see how a team could be worth $6 billion and play in FedEx Field, which is like the dumpiest of dumps, right? In the NFL, right? Am I wrong? I mean, the place literally falls apart.
I think the value is probably more than that because it's more than just that. It's because of where it's at. And it's DC. It's the nation's capital. There's a very popular area. The Commanders are an extremely popular team. So I can see that, and things are obviously more astronomical nowadays with inflation and whatnot. But I don't know if it's going to sell. I mean, at this point, there's no way that it's not going to sell for $6 billion if there's two bids for that. But to be 1.1 billion less than the Yankees franchise is wild to me. But whatever. But yeah, I'm very, very intrigued to see how this happens. And I'm more so excited for two things, which you've said now twice, which I'm going to drive home for the third time. We cannot have the Snyder family involved in NFL, which would be absolutely great news. And then Dame could actually be happy with his team because he is a Commanders fan, no matter what he tells anybody else. Also, shout out to him because he's going to be absolutely stressed on Saturday at 8:50 because he is a Miami Hurricane football fan and he is a UConn basketball fan. Well, he loves everything Miami, but he's also a UConn basketball fan. So he's going to be stressed. He wins no matter what. But he's going to be stressed the hell out. So
there will be stress. I think I've been meaning to say this to you. I may have said this off air. We need like a bonus podcast where we just break down your sports allegiances and how they happen. and Dame can be part of this too. Like it's just, you think obviously I am on board with you cheer for who you want to cheer for, right? I have no criticism towards that. I
absolutely
like the Red Sox, don't necessarily like Red Sox fans, but who cares? If you live in New Jersey and you want to cheer for the Red Sox, that's fine. I don't care, but I'm just every day I hear a new kind of connection or thing that you root for, and I'm just like, how did it happen? How did this happen? So that's a bonus pod we'll work on one day. But yeah, good luck to Dame there.
He'll need it. Yeah, I'd be intrigued to see if that group with Josh Harris and Magic pull it out. That's just the way that Magic moves with his money is so wild to me. Like I watch it very, very closely. Like that's a person that I pocket watch because I'm inspired. Like he just makes the right moves, and that would be a phenomenal purchase from them because of how they know how fans work. Right? From Josh Harris to the Sixers, from Magic to the Lakers to the Dodgers, right? Just being a part of that, they know how to make an atmosphere fan friendly, and they know how to give the arena, stadium, the amenities that is needed to make it a destination for people. And to your point, FedEx Field has not been a destination for anybody. Only the diehards really go there, and sometimes fans. Like I've never said in my whole lifetime of being an Eagles fan of them going down there that I was like, yeah, I want to go down there to FedEx Field and watch the Eagles play. Never in my mind. I've said I want to go to what you call Arlington to go see Dallas. I've seen the Eagles against the Giants in MetLife. I went to obviously the Eagles Lincoln Financial, but I've never had said let's go to FedEx. So I think that's gonna be huge.
Point. That's a great point. I mean, we're both in the Northeast. We're probably 4 hours from the DMV, right? Like probably give or take. I've been to DC a million times. It's less than an hour plane ride too. But yeah, it's just not a destination. I think winning solves a lot of that too. Willingness to use the money that you cheat away from the NFL and from other teams too. Allegedly, that could be could bring people. There's been times where all throughout the 2000s he just the Snyders just threw money everywhere at all these overpriced or just players, and it didn't result in anything. But
Albert Haynesworth,
yeah, that's the one that certainly comes to mind first, right?
Yes.
What a colossal bust as far as like free agent signings go in more ways than one. But winning solves that, and too. But when you have the right people behind you, does Magic still have stake in the Dodgers? I think he sold it, right? Is he still own part of the Dodgers? I know he was.
No, I think he might have sold stake in the Lakers. Maybe I think he's still part in the Dodgers. I think it might be flipped. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
But I'll tell you one thing, Sam. If I'm driving all the way down that way, I'm going to see the Ravens, and that might change depending on the next guy on what happens to him.
That's a nice segue. Then.
That's Lamar. So we've been back and forth about this on the pod, Sam. You and I. We've saw the non-exclusive franchise tag, which allowed Lamar to go out here and talk it up with any team and get deals. That has not happened yet. He hasn't been moved. There hasn't been, at least not outworth of what we've heard in the media. There's been no teams that have flat out made an offer yet. We've heard collusion. We've heard so many other things. And now, as of when you guys hear this, 2 days ago, Lamar on Monday to be exact, at this exact time that his coach went to speak. What's that? Well, there goes my dog going again. Crazy. Appreciate that. He didn't like to talk on Lamar either, but
Tell us how you really feel, Kylo.
He did. But with that being said, Lamar has come out and said the same time that on March 2nd that he requested to be traded from the Ravens.
Oh, that Instagram post was posted while John Harbaugh was doing
it. Literally as he went out, the tweet, literally as he went out to speak to the media.
That's fantastic.
The same time that happened, which Lamar is obviously not stupid, knows what's going on.
Of course.
He put that out. And then that was it from there. And so for me, Again, he's been very calculated with everything that he's done. He doesn't speak too much in the media. Whether you agree with it or not, has been very calculated this whole way through. And it put Coach Harbaugh on the spot immediately. Like that I'm sure the whole conversation was going to be about Lamar anyway, but then that just added to it. Like it just was like Lamar was just sitting there like, hey, gasoline, let's just drop this on this open flame. Let's see what happens now.
You want to do me like that?
Yeah. So my question to you, Sam, is, because I've had this conversation now with multiple people, does Lamar get traded or does he stay put? Because to me, with that non-exclusive, it changes the fact of they didn't have the exclusive tag, right? The exclusive tag, like he's there no matter what. With a non-exclusive, he doesn't have to sign it, which means he would basically sit out and he wouldn't get fined anything. He doesn't have to play. He wouldn't sit out. But then again, that means that the longer he doesn't sign that, the longer he can't be moved to another team if the Ravens don't want to move him, because they do have certain leverage in this situation, right?
Yeah. I think it's, I've probably said this last time we talked about it. I know I've talked to you about it off the air. This isn't the best situation if you're looking to get value for Lamar Jackson, if you're the Ravens, because the market is set at those 2 first-round picks, and then you pay him what you offer him. So that's not in the best interest of the Ravens trying to get, what Deshaun Watson fetched from the Browns, or what the Browns sent the Texans for Deshaun Watson, right? Like 3 first-round picks, a bunch of like pick swaps or whatever it was. The Ravens are kind of have a hand tied behind their back here, because they the market is now 2 first-round picks as part of that non-exclusive tag. So, I thought when that happened, when he first was given that tag, he didn't sign it, but was, I guess, offered it or placed on him, if you will. I thought it was going to be easier to move Lamar because of that. At first, I was like, maybe no one, everyone kind of respects the Ravens. Maybe nobody wants to really stir the pot here. But I thought it'd be easier because, again, I've said it twice already. The market is set for him. It's really a steal if you believe that the Lamar Jackson that won an MVP and is, on a per game basis is just dynamite. Like, if you believe that's who you're getting, it's a no, and you need a quarterback. Of course I'd give up only 2 first-round picks for it, and then you got to pay him. But you're gonna look what Daniel Jones made. You'd rather have Daniel Jones than Lamar Jackson.
I don't think this has been my biggest stance with this whole situation.
And I understand why the Giants paid Daniel Jones. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you got to pay the crappy quarterbacks too, even worse than Daniel Jones.
I don't think the stance is the money. I don't think the stance is. I think it's so the only stance that I think it is here that is prolonged in this situation is these 2 words: fully guaranteed. That is the only thing that is stopping this from happening, is fully guaranteed. And this, as you mentioned his name, I'm going to mention his name again. This has been Lamar's talking point. Sure. Obviously, we're not in the room. We're not in negotiations. We don't know everything that's been said, whatnot. We just know the rumor contract, which was 3 years, $133 million guaranteed from Lamar's own mouth. In totality, I think it was 200, but 133 was guaranteed. This conversation has imploded and has been this blown up, not just because of his talent, is because of the market, quote unquote, that was set by Deshaun Watson. But in reality, all the other owners outside of the Browns organization are looking and saying, that was an absolutely stupid contract. It's the Browns being the Browns, doing stupid stuff as they normally do. They went out and they wanted to get their guy. They went out and paid all this money. Yeah, I know we did.
I know.
They went out and spent all this money on Deshaun with all of the baggage that he now has, which he once didn't have, right? If this would have been Deshaun before all that, and they offered him money in the way that he was trending,
yep,
I don't think 100%. This would even have been an issue whatsoever. No. Like, it would have been fine, right? But being that he had all that baggage, Lamar's sitting here like, well, I don't get in trouble, right? Which is what everybody wants in their quarterback, a guy that doesn't get in trouble, a guy that's a leader, a guy that's likable, a guy that's marketable, so on and so forth. Lamar has all that. He also won the MVP.
Yeah, and a guy who was told he can't do this, and he went ahead and did
to do it. Exactly.
And then you don't want to see, he shouldn't run as much. The dude puts up 1 billion passing touchdowns and wins an MVP.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, there might be. I don't quite understand.
I do, and that's what I'm getting to. It's. I also feel, Sam, is that you and we both identify as men. Okay, I'm saying that to be PG, PC, and all that, right? And in growing up, we have which I say plagues people. At least that what I've been around and what I've seen is your ego, right? It's the male ego. And what we've seen over the years is people downright say that Lamar can't do this. Lamar can't do that. He's never going to be this. He can't pass. He can't do all this stuff. All the stuff that they said he couldn't be, as you just mentioned, he has done and has excelled over everything that they've said. So all these anonymous GMs that we keep hearing, or defensive coordinators saying, if I had an option to have Lamar and start him right now, I wouldn't choose him. He's not a franchise guy. All these anonymous people, they're standing on their rock and saying, you know what, I got to go down with the ship. Because my pride was, we watched Lamar go and go and go, and we didn't choose him because we didn't think he was that. And he keeps excelling. It's like, you know what, I'm just going to die on this ship. And I feel that some ego that is going on in this league is they just don't want to see this young man excel. So yet he keeps doing this over and over.
Right. And I mean, the guy who comes to mind publicly is Bill Polian saying he's a running back.
Yeah.
And clearly 30 plus teams passed on him because he was the last pick in the first round. And I believe the Ravens traded back into the first round
with my Eagles.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Traded back in there because that was the year after they won the Super Bowl. You're right. Mm-hmm. So you're saying, but by that logic, it couldn't be that the Ravens were the only team that thought Lamar Jackson could do this. I understand not wanting to give a quarterback fully guaranteed money. Football is the only major sport that doesn't have guaranteed money.
Yes.
And it's kind of like one of those things. I don't blame him for wanting it. If we were both hosting this podcast and you made twice what I made, or vice versa, or whatever, you'd still do the podcast, but there'd be a part. And money's not everything. I know money's not everything to you. It's certainly, I know you well enough. It's same to me. But if I was making twice what you were making, or vice versa, it's kind of like, why can't I get what Brandon gets? I do the same amount of work. My name's on the podcast too. So I totally understand him, and I think where he hurts himself is he doesn't have an agent.
Mm-hmm.
And
that doesn't help, but
I think it. I don't know who's speaking on his behalf. If it's just completely him, if it's a family member or maybe a close friend or something. He obviously is not doing this entirely alone, but. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's probably some disadvantages to not having someone who knows how it's done. Now, that doesn't mean I'm a big component of, just because we've always done something this way doesn't mean it's the right way to do it. That I agree with that. So kudos to him, but I just feel like there's probably some disadvantages to him not being experienced in doing this, although publicly he's doing everything the right way, right? He's not saying anything. He's not being mean. He's just, he's politely putting out information at strategic times, and he's not saying too much.
I'll even go further and say, I don't care if he's doing it politely or not.
Oh, I don't care
these either. Players need to get their share, because this is the problem with sports in general, is that these owners, these colleges, so on and so forth, are so pissed, and they got to make all this money, and the players, the actual reason the people are there to watch, not the owners, not the college, They're there to watch those players. And when these players want to get their piece of the pie, which is why college should have been way ahead of the game and said, you know what, let's give you players a piece of the pie, because now they're getting the NILs and now they're all complaining about these guys getting this money and getting their pockets lined. Well, guess what? If I'm that guy that's popular now in college, right? And let's just say I don't blossom into anything on the next level. I made a good amount of money now, right? I made my money now, and that's it. Now, let me go to the NFL. We're talking about fully guaranteed. Would you take Kirk Cousins over Lamar Jackson?
I think it would depend on what kind of offense, but no.
Okay. No. Now, I would not. I'm saying that because that's the last time I saw. Well, Kirk Cousins had got exactly
twice
fully guaranteed. His
extension was too.
This is why a lot of people are thinking that there's collusion going on here. There's a lot of people, because Lamar is going out here doing this on his own, saying, nope, I know what I want. I know the money. I'm going to do this. I know my value. And that's it. Betting on himself, which I would never, ever knock anybody betting on himself. We just watched a whole magnificent season by Aaron Judge. Obviously, it's a completely different sport. Baseball money is different. But watching him go through this, and I just hope Lamar wins.
I said he was wrong for doing it. And I was wrong. I admitted I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And Lamar played this season, and he got hurt again. Which
that's another knock on him. Yeah,
that's a knock on him.
Mm-hmm.
I like Lamar. I would want him as. I don't understand why the Jets are not even. I heard something. Someone passed along. One of my
Joe
friends
Douglas saying that
they said they weren't even entertaining it. What? Again, first off, it's your old boss. So like, if you used to work somewhere and you have a good relationship with someone, don't you think it's a little bit easier to just have the conversation?
Well, you know why they're saying they're not even worried about Lamar.
They don't want to piss Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. That's the only reason.
I understand.
They're saying they may say that publicly, but Joe Douglas is like,
there might be a deal.
We're not doing that, but he's sitting over here just like this. Lamar, I am lying my ass off right now to you. I am 100% interested in you.
That could be the case,
but we're there. Listen, if Joe Douglas, as smart as I say Joe Douglas is, and has known him to be, there's no damn way in my mind that he's not saying that publicly facing and not being like, Lamar, listen, we're trying to get him right now. Don't think I don't want you. That's where we put all our eggs in our basket. But listen, if we don't get him, we're coming to talk to you. So just know that. So. And Lamar understands it's a business. So, I mean, let's just jump right into that person anyway, Sam. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Joe Douglas said, cutting you off here, but Joe Douglas basically just said he's in no rush for a trade. We're not where we need to be, but we're in a good place. We're going to let this process play out. Stone cold right there. Like, just, hey, we're not in a rush. Like, if this doesn't happen, and we didn't really get to react to it. We weren't on the air last week after, we knew the decision was coming the next day or the day the pod came out with Pat McAfee. But I would, they probably feel really confident. It's reported that they feel confident, but if it doesn't work out, that's a scary place. If you're a Jets front office, you're Jet fans, certainly Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh's probably career in New York depends on being able to get this done and succeeding with it. So there's that. It's a stalemate. I heard something about contingencies with draft picks in case Aaron Rodgers retires at the end of the year, which again, and I've said too, if we get Aaron Rodgers, I'm a diehard Jets fan. If you're new to the podcast, if we get Aaron Rodgers, we're going to go through this same song and dance next year. Whether we win a Super Bowl, whether we miss the playoffs, it's going to be this like hemming and hawing, like where are we going from here? But I think the Jets are playing this right. I think they have the leverage. I don't think anything's going to happen until after the draft at this June 1st. I think there's some money due or something like that. Some friends were telling me, but the Packers obviously want this to happen now. So they can clear that money, get picks in this year's draft, whether it's the 13th overall or, second round pick or something like that. But Jets are like, well, why should we have to do this? We're taking on all this money. He doesn't want to play for you. And we're going to give you a first round pick. No. He might retire at the end of the year. Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. And I'm hearing the asking price that the Packers want are like multiple first round picks. And it's like, as a Jets fan or as a Jets GM, I'd be like, absolutely not. There's too many variables here. Aaron Rodgers literally went to like the past since you guys drafted Jordan Love. Every year he's basically been like, I don't know if I'm going to retire or play or not. Like, do you think that he's just going to change his stripes as when he gets over to the Jets? No, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, right?
And, yeah. And he went scorched earth when Jordan Love was drafted. He admitted that it pissed him off or just upset him, even though he likes Jordan Love. And obviously he was in the same situation, 15 years ago or whatever.
Yep.
But he went scorched earth, won 2 back-to-back MVPs or a back-to-back MVP. It made it sound like there was 4. And I'm on board with this because I feel like once he comes to the Meadowlands, he's going to go scorched earth again because he's not done yet, quote unquote. It's like one of these things. So obviously I don't want to give up more than I have to, but look at Joe Douglas's trades in the last couple of years, what he got for Jamal Adams, what he got for Sam Darnold, what he got to move up for Elijah Vera Tucker. I mean, I hated that we got rid of Elijah Moore last week, but
I'm sure you did.
That situation was kind of already sealed, unfortunately. He's very good at what he does and making trades. If this was Madden, you had to give the GM a grade, it's an A.
Well, if this was Madden, this is Madden. Madden wouldn't let you do the damn trade because Madden is the most strict damn game that you play that you can't do trades that you want to do. It's ridiculous.
If it was 5-6 years ago, quote unquote, in his prime, you give they get what Deshaun Watson was worth, what some of these big trades are worth, but not with a 39-year-old quarterback that's making the most money in the league and doesn't want to be there. It doesn't add up.
I said to you before, if I'm sitting here with this whole situation, and I get why Joe is just sitting here, he's like, we're just played out. He has a great relationship with Gutekunst, so he's gonna have. Gutekunst actually just said that today, I think, when we're recording this on Tuesday, that they have a great relationship. They've worked together before, so I'm sure they're going to try to do what's best on both ends, and they're going to have to come to a compromise at some point. So the Jets are going to have to give up a little bit more than what they want, but the Packers are also going to have to sit there and not get everything that they want too. To your point, if the Jets are taking on a bulk of that money, you guys got to do something for us because we're not going to give away our whole future and all this money and do this and impact our roster, and you guys basically aren't doing anything. Because at the end of the day, and I'm sure no Jets fan wants to hear me say this, but at the end of the day, if they don't get Rodgers, the Jets don't lose anything. They still have the 13th pick, right? They still have a young core that they can continue to build off of. They added some good pieces there with Lazard, whatnot, and they then have an opportunity to shift their mindset to the person that I said they should try to get, which is Lamar Jackson, because he is younger. He gives you more than what Rodgers does, at least rushing wise. I'm not saying he's a better passer at all. I'm not. But Lamar can handle his own. I mean, he's a league MVP. You don't just get that handed to you. So I'm intrigued. I'm absolutely intrigued to see what happens. But I would like to see Aaron go to the Jets, being that I go to a Jets game once a year and I'll finally be able to get to see him live. So sure, let's do it.
Same, bro. Same. This year's gonna be that Jets game's gonna be hype.
Yeah, that Jets Bills game will be crazy.
Not in our house. Still mad about that Bills fan. Anyway, hey, what's like? Well, I guess when you're listening to this on Wednesday, it's on tomorrow. Major League Baseball season. We're here. We made it, bro. You excited? I have to say.
Wait. You put this on the rundown and you skip over number 0.
Oh, I skipped it. Oh,
you skip number 0.
Hey,
you're disrespecting my team right now for what they put in and submitted here. So now make up and redeem yourself, sir.
You know, it had it as 0, so it's just empty.
Wow.
So I skipped it, but I put this on the rundown. Hey, the league being the NFL, because you know I'm an idiot, just skipped over stuff. They voted on Tuesday to allow all players other than offensive and defensive linemen to wear the number 0. The proposal was submitted by Brandon's Philadelphia Eagles and allows kickers and punters to use any jersey numbered 0 to 49 or 90 to 99. And I heard one GM basically, or one executive say, this will be helpful. No one questioned it. Everyone just voted for it because there's a number crunch. We're all dealing with a numbers crunch. It was kind of like, it makes sense. I understand. I mean, you know, 1 to 10, everyone wants to be a single digit there. And there's not a lot of them go around, especially when you add the retired numbers. But, you know, what? Cool.
I'm happy for it.
Yeah,
I'm happy for it because it's a number. It should be available. I mean, one of my favorite basketball players, even though it's not the same sport, wears number 0, as in Dame. 0 has become way more popular in recent memory, which I absolutely love. So yeah, just continue to have that and continue to go with that. That's just what I want to see. But to your point, that's a very, very valid point because they're definitely running out of numbers, and I think that's happening across the board in sports because so many numbers are being retired to the point that we're probably going to start seeing like triple digit numbers in like the next 10 years, which I would not be surprised. But yeah, no, I wish that it's kind of like with politics and laws. When you want something to really get changed that really matters and really affects, you get something else to like, well, we gave you this instead. And I think in this, it should have been the pass interference and how that call is happening and how much problems still go around the pass interference. Like, I really think they need to fix that. And I know that was topic of discussion, but they just really didn't put that forward. So
you mean
I would
like
much rather seen that.
There's like a healthcare bill or something, and they like earmark, like stuff it with random crap that has nothing to do
things
with
that matter.
Healthcare. Yeah. I hear that.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's not a shock. It kind of just is what it is. But
I was also going to say, I also read that the owners voted to allow sports books in
inside the arenas,
inside the stadiums there, anywhere where obviously gambling is legal. So that'll be cool. I mean, I know the Meadowlands has the
hold your
right
horses,
outside. And
hold your horses.
Well,
that could be cool, and that could also be very, very bad. Because depending on how much money you lost, that is a fight waiting to happen right in that arena. Just imagine going in there, Sam, and you had a surefire bet in your head, and you say, you know what? Now remember, alcohol is flowing. You know what? I'm going to put 500 that they're going to win this second half. Right? You walk in there, and then your team loses by a field goal, or let's just say they lose by safety. You don't think that person's going to come out and rage and just punch the first person that they see? Like, I just see that going, and I don't hate trying to look at things in such a negative light on the opposite end because it could be very, very fruitful in the excitement on the other end if you win right there betting on your team. But, Lord, if you lose in some people's short fuses, could be
I
bad.
guess it makes it easier to place a bet, but you could just do it on your phone.
True.
I think I have 4 sports books apps on my phone. I know you do. Like, it's just.
So, I've actually deleted all my sport ones. I've actually deleted all my betting apps. Surprisingly,
no more NBA parlays for you.
I haven't bet on any sport in probably a year now.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I know you weren't going to bet on your Eagles. I knew.
No, absolutely not. I don't bet on my teams. Number 1 rule: don't bet on your team.
Yeah. All right, Pete Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, can we tie these two together?
Yeah.
Recently reinstated wide receiver Calvin Ridley will be the first player to wear number 0 for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Good for him.
He was suspended for betting on football.
I'm happy he's back.
Wow, I'm happy that segue happened.
Yeah,
hey,
he's back.
Let's talk about baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball's back. We're excited. I know I've noticed a little skip in your step when it comes to our New York Yankees, because I'm just going to take a second here and just say I'm really happy because the number 5 overall prospect in baseball, according to MLB.com, and the Yankees' number 1 prospect will be our starting shortstop on opening day, and hopefully for a generation to come. Anthony Volpe has been named to the Yankees opening day roster. Really just pumped to this, just a really good kid, humble kid, and he does a lot of things really well. He's a great runner, great fielder. He's already made a couple great plays just in the last week, let alone spring training, and he's got some pop too. So really excited about this kid, and on a personal level, like, he's just a genuinely really good kid, and it's just cool. It's cool to see it, and really excited on that note. But I know Volpe's got you pumped too.
He does, but I'll save my excitement for later.
Okay,
get into our rules.
Cool. Hey, so with the baseball season, there's some new rules, and I'll read them. Let me put my glasses on.
Wow, Sam.
No, seriously. I know a lot has been talked about these new rules that were implemented in the offseason. And we haven't really touched on them too much here, but we'll go over them. Number 1, well documented and complained about already, the pitch timer. So 15 seconds with the bases empty, 20 seconds with runners on. That's the amount of time that the pitcher has to be to deliver a pitch. They have to be in a certain part of their sequence by a certain amount of time. Batters need to be in the box by like 8 seconds or something like that. So there's that, and hitters get 1 timeout per plate appearance. So that means like putting your arm out to the stepping out of the box. So you're not going to see the Nomar Garciaparra, Chuck Knobloch, let me redo my batting gloves kind of thing anymore. And pitchers are also going to get what they're calling 2 disengagements. So essentially like stepping off the mound or throwing a pickoff move. On that 3rd pickoff attempt, they have to nail the guy, get him out. If they don't get him out, it's a balk. I think it's a balk because the runner would advance to second or third base, or in this case, home too. And it would not count as a stolen base, so I'd assume it'd be a balk there. So,
I'm going to save my question for you at the end because I really need to know what you think. But continue, sir.
Yeah. Number 2, which, well, I guess with number 1, we've already seen how streamlined a baseball game has been.
I love that. I love how quick it's been going.
Yeah, totally. They've used this data, or they used these rules in AAA last year. So a lot of the players I just mentioned, Volpe, a lot of them are familiar with it in some regard, but it's really shortened time of play from last year in the minors. Made the game quicker and more digestible to even a hardcore baseball fan here. And the game's been significantly shorter throughout the spring as it was. I don't think it's been this short since the spring of 2006. And that was the first time they really started kind of doing a pace of play kind of data or something like that. So number 2, I'm really excited about too, is the shift restrictions. You're not going to see any more third baseman or the shortstop on the second base side of the bag playing in the outfield there. So it's going to enable more hit and run, and going to help out some of these lefty hitters that get shifted on, like the Anthony Rizzos, the Corey Seagers, and whatnot. So 4 infielders need to have both feet on the dirt or on the infield grass there. And then the last one, bigger bases. First base, second base, and third base is going from 15 inches to 18. So the bigger bases should, I guess the emphasis there is player safety. I guess minimal injuries have happened with these bigger bases, down 13%, with, injuries by the bag, if you will. And the distance reduced from home to first and home to third is reduced by 3 inches. That's going to be significant there. And 4.5 from first to second and second to third there. So, and the ghost runner rule, which I know we're both not fans of, is here to stay.
I don't really mind the ghost runner thing. I don't care.
It's fine. I don't like it in the playoffs, but and I don't like this pitch timer in the playoffs. That would be my caveat there, but I am totally down with with all of these rules.
Okay, well, that was going to be my question to you, because I mean, this is not the baseball. This is not your dad's baseball or the baseball that we grew up watching. These are fundamental changes, or these little incremental changes, or things that we never saw before, and now are changing the game. Now, I know obviously every game evolves as technology becomes stronger, analytics becomes stronger. So you're completely okay with most of these changes, or if not all?
I like that the game is easier to digest for most people. I have friends that are sports fans, but not huge sports fans. They can't name every member of the Yankees like we can, or of their favorite team or something like that, and they've been able to sit and watch these games.
Okay.
That's exciting. I mean, to be able to watch a game in 2.5 hours instead of 3 hours and 15 minutes or so, like, it's gonna make a difference, especially when there's 162 of them on throughout the year there too. So, and they play 5 to 6 times a week. So, I like it. Hopefully it gets more attention onto the game, because the biggest snack was it takes too long, blah blah blah. I get it. Like, I saw like a meme or a video on Instagram that showed Bryce Harper's home run against the Padres, and the amount of time in between. I think Joe Musgrove was pitcher, and like the amount of time between pitches, and that wouldn't have happened if it was for the pitch clock, right? Like the momentum there, the kind of that atmosphere, you're not really taking that in with a pitch timer. That's why I hope they kind of amend some of this for the playoffs. But overall, I like it. I don't understand how bigger bases is a safety thing. I mean, I get it. There's more room on the bag to maneuver, but that's these tie go to the runner kind of plays at first. That's going to significantly be changed there, a bigger advantage to the runner. And you're going to see stolen bases go up too. So, it's fine. It's playing more small ball. I get it. I like it. I don't mind any of it.
I think I could really care less about most of the stuff, like the shift. I mean, it doesn't really bother me so much, because I mean, I've watched the shift my whole entire life, played in a shift in my time of playing baseball. So I know it's gotten more aggressive with the analytics over the years, like just seeing like the whole team shift in one closer to the infield, where the third baseman is basically playing shortstop, right? Like, I get it. My thing always to that has been, Sam, was if you don't want the shift, then become a versatile hitter that can hit all over the field. And guess what? They got to play you straight up. Do you see them shift for Trout?
Well, Trout's a right-handed hitter.
But if he just only pulled and he never went to right field, they would have to do what? Shift, right?
Sure. Yeah, you're right.
So if you're a player that can only hit to one side and you're a pull hitter, the team is going to adjust to that. So that part, I mean, it's always been a part of the game to me. So I'm kind of just like, on that. But I think my favorite, if I had to choose a favorite out of the whole thing, is just speeding up the pitching, because it takes forever. I just sent Sam earlier today, Nestor Cortez doing a quick pitch, and the rule with that, it can't happen unless the batter and the pitcher have eye-to-eye contact, which then he then followed up to do one of his quirky pitches and just essentially wait forever and dangle his leg and then pitch it, right? So I know Nestor does it because he's just fun. It's a part of the game, which I love that, and nothing else happened with that. But I'm just happy that happens, because I always feel, Sam, and always have felt, at least for my adult years of watching baseball, which is it's where I started to lose the love for it. It's like I can put on a game and I literally can go shopping at the grocery store, go to the gym, and then still come back and there's still like an hour left of the game, right? Like, it's just like, all right, I kind of want this to go. And it started to become background noise for me too. So, and I always felt that when I went to the game goes like that. Right. And I want to watch, but I don't want to be sitting here all day watching one game. I just don't, when there's so many other games that could be on the time. So
that's a good point. I'd say with the shift thing, players were much more, okay, I'm not going to hit the ball. You want me to hit the ball the other way. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just hit it out of the yard. And it's turned into a 3 true outcomes game where it's your 3 true outcomes. You either strike out, you walk, or you hit a home run. Like that's it. And you get these feast or famine kind of guys. I mean, someone like Joey Gallo is a outlier with this, right? You're going to hit under 200. He's going to hit 30 something home runs, but he's going to strike out over 200 times. Like that's the extreme case of this. But we've seen baseball in the last couple of years. They own Rawlings now. They've de-juiced the baseball after years, probably 2015 to 2020. The ball was significantly juiced, if you will. I think the height of it, if you look at data, was like 18, 19. The ball was just flying out of the yard. You don't see guys like DJ LeMahieu hitting 20 bombs anymore because the ball is different. And each stadium has humidors now. So they're trying to just make small ball a thing, stolen bases, getting on base, so I mean, we'll see where it goes. I'm excited about it, but yeah, I'm right with you with the timer. An easier game to watch is definitely in the best interest of most baseball fans.
Yeah, especially when baseball comes about in season. It's going to be in the midst of basketball playoffs, hockey playoffs. You know what I mean? Like you have this going on. It's like I don't want to sit here all night and have to watch my Yankees when I want to watch Steph Curry on the West Coast. You know what I mean? Like eventually, right? For us or another team, I don't want to sit here all day and have to focus on my favorite team that's going to be playing for 3 hours and I want to see what happens. Then you turn the channel because you just like, okay, I'm over it. And then you come back and it's like, oh, I missed all that, but we're still playing. Got it. Right. So I'm just kind of, it is what it is. But let's get into our picks for the year, though. That's what we got, Sam. What you got first, man?
Yeah, so let's do it. Just kind of, I guess we'll just name the division and we'll say who we think will win and if we have any notes there, and then we'll pick the 3 wild card teams. As you know, the number 1 seed gets a bye, if you will, the best record in each league. So there's 3 wild card games. I like the wild card format from last year. I wasn't sure I was going to like it, but it had some enjoyable baseball, and I think it puts a little more emphasis on not only winning the division and getting that home game, but now avoiding a potential first round exit too. So that's certainly important. So with the East, I not going to spend too much time on this. I think it's the Yankees. I am worried that hopefully deal with all these injuries now. Severino's hurt. Carlos Rodon is on the mend there. Harrison Bader's hurt. Trevino's the pitcher Lou Trevino's on the IL. Tommy Kahnle. There's a lot going on. The medical staff is in overtime here in New York, but I just think they're not only the best team in the AL East, which is going to be as tough as it's ever been. I think they're the best team in baseball. When they're healthy and they're clicking. So hopefully that happens. I don't expect Judge to hit 62 home runs, but I like what they're doing. I'm a fan of Volpe, as I mentioned. Some of these pitchers I really like, especially in the bullpen. And I just like the versatility that this team has grown to have, and I think they're going to win the East.
All right, my brother Sam said all that, and I'm just going to say the Yankees. So there's that.
Cool.
What you got for AL Central?
I'm going the Guardians here. They won the Central last year, lost to the Yankees, but they know how to put together a pitching staff. They do a great job there. I mean, you remember like the like Corey Klubers of the world, but now it's like Shane Bieber. You have Tristan McKenzie, he's going to be out for a couple months, but you have some great pitching there, a great bullpen, and I think Jose Ramirez is probably the most underrated star in baseball. He's a third baseman, so he's definitely going to have an MVP type season as he usually does, and I think the Guardians are by far the best team in the Central.
I have the Twins winning. I think they finally put it together, but I think that race is going to be extremely close between them and the Guardians. So I could see it going either way. But I'm just going to throw a shot in the dark. Twins.
Yeah, like it, man. That's it. I mean, if you look at the start of most seasons and you look at the end, it's like, wait, we didn't see that coming. So the Phillies were, they fired Joe Girardi. They were going nowhere fast, and they turned it around. They almost won a World Series. Like, they were there. So, like, anything is possible. We saw what the Nationals did years ago, right? They were in like last place at Memorial Day, and they ended up winning a World Series. So anything's possible there. It's not a long shot at all. In the West, I'm picking the Mariners. This is, not, I wouldn't say this is the most popular pick, knowing how, the Astros just won a World Series and they continue to lose guys and they continue to still get better. It's crazy. I think they have a great pitching staff, the Astros, but I really like what the Mariners are doing. Adding Luis Castillo, having Robbie Ray won a Cy Young a couple years ago. And if you don't know who Julio Rodriguez is, he's one of the best young talents in baseball, and he's a lot of fun to watch. And he'll be anchoring center field out there for a long time in Seattle. And I like the Mariners to upset the Astros in the West.
You don't bet against Tom, and I'm no longer betting against the Astros.
It's fair. Totally fair. Who you got in the wild card?
Mariners, Guardians, and the Blue Jays. All teams that I think can easily win those divisions, depending on what type of year they have. But those are my 3 picks right there for wild card.
I love it. I'm going a little similar. We have all this kind of the same teams here. Astros. I think this Blue Jay team's really, really good. Their pitching staff got better. Vlad Jr., Bo Bichette, George Springer. They lost Teoscar Hernandez to the Mariners, but I still think this is a great offense. And Kevin Gausman is an underrated league great pitcher. So I like the Blue Jays there. And I picked the Angels. I don't know why. Just maybe for the hope of like Mike Trout getting to the playoffs for the second time in his career, which is crazy because he's the best player of our generation of the last decade. And he's been to the playoffs once. He has 3 career playoff games and they got swept. I think it was 2014. That's wild. So you'd figure, a lot has been said about Ohtani and Trout and the end of the World Baseball Classic, but both these guys on the same team. Ohtani's a free agent at the end of the year. Just, if the Angels don't make it to the playoffs this year, I don't know how they're going to get there.
What? Nothing. Okay. I just don't bet on the Angels at all.
I wouldn't bet. I'm just saying if they can't do it, with 2 generational talents, I don't know how they're going to be able to do it. That's all. Let's go to the East, where I think last year I picked the Mets.
You sure did.
And I really liked where they were going. And I think I said the adult in the room, and it made a difference until it didn't. And the end of the year just completely fell apart again.
The Mets is what you mean?
They met it pretty hard, man. Mm-hmm. But, no more DeGrom. Justin Verlander's here. They famously have spent $1 zillion this offseason, upgraded their team and their stadium. So I'm picking the Braves though. All that said, I just think the Braves are the best complete team in the NL East. They got Sean Murphy, Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna and Ozzie Albies, and Spencer Strider almost won Rookie of the Year last year as a pitcher if it wasn't for his teammate Michael Harris. So they're in good hands. The future of the Braves is pretty bright, and I think it would be like their 6th straight division title too, if they were able to pull it off. I know you have the Braves too. That's cool. Great minds.
Yep, got nothing to say about that. NL Central.
This is great. I got the Cardinals. I just think they're better than everyone else.
I have the Cardinals because it's two of their Hall of Famers last year, and I think they're going to try to show out. So should be interesting to see. But they also have Arenado and what's his name?
Paul Goldschmidt.
Thank you. So yeah, they're built for it. So that's who I have as well. NL West.
We both have the Padres here. I think the Dodgers are going to take a bit of a step back. They're playing a lot of younger guys. I don't think their pitching is as strong as it has been. They've lost Trey Turner too. But they always find a way, whether they're spending a lot of money or not, to be there. They have a lot of good young talent coming or already here. I think they have one of the best farm systems in baseball, and that's crazy because all they do, I feel like, is send away prospects for big name talent. So just a testament to what the front office does. But the Padres just spend and spend and spend. They have Juan Soto in a walk here. Fernando Tatis will be back after the first couple weeks of the season. And they've Xander Bogaerts, and they've spent a ton of money elsewhere. So I like this Padre team, and I really like their pitching too. So I'm gonna pick the Padres that they finally win the NL West. I know you have the Padres too.
What's his name? He's coming back this year.
Tatis.
Yep.
Yeah, April 20th he's eligible to play after his suspension. It's over.
Yep. That's why I chose them. Soto, Manny Machado, him.
Oh yeah, Manny too. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Not hard team to pitch around. So
if you could tell me where they're getting all this money, that'd be great too.
I couldn't tell you that, my friend. You're on your own on that one.
For a wild card, I got the Dodgers, just mentioned them, got the Mets, mentioned them, and I have the Phillies. It's gonna be a tough NL East. Bryce Harper had Tommy John surgery, but they're not putting him on the 60-day IL, so he could be back sooner than everyone thinks. And I like this Philly team, and they certainly have the bats to hit in this league for sure. So that'd be my third wild card team. You have the Dodgers, Phillies, and Giants.
Yep, the NL West. I think they're just stacked in the NL West. So with the Padres and Dodgers and Giants, Giants have been right there with the Dodgers for pretty much years now. And obviously the Padres have been just ascending at this point in time. But then I also love what the Phillies did last year, what they did to get Trey Turner, which is crazy too. I love that for them. So they are continuing to get better. And shout out to Philly for Philly sports. You literally have baseball, basketball, and football all going right now. You just need your Sixers to get to the finals, and they have the pieces. We'll just see what happens with that. But yeah, very, very intrigued. I will never pick the Mets in this because I've lived in New York and I watch what the Mets do. Somehow, some way, they always seem to choke, and I feel bad for Mets fans. That's definitely not a shot at them because I really enjoy their colors and the history of the Mets. But yeah, no.
The history of the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fair. I don't have anything against the Mets. I was telling you, I like going to Citi Field. I think they do everything right. I think they have an owner that is certainly financially committed, but in other ways too committed to win and own a team and do it the right way. And I like that he's pushing. He's making some of these other owners scared. Whether they'll admit it or not, the pocketbook is open. It's endless for Steve Cohen there. So that'll be fun to watch. Who you got in the World Series?
Yankees and the Priests.
Same, bro. Same.
Yeah. Yankees and the Priest.
I got Yankees over the Padres.
Mm-hmm.
Just again, I'm being a homer and a fan here, but I think I think these are the two best teams of baseball. Arguably, thinking about it. Yeah, two best teams of baseball in my opinion, and I look forward to it happening. I
haven't chosen the Yankees in a while, so I decided to go with them.
I think once. We had the Padres in the World Series last year, or the year before. Hasn't quite worked out for us, but
well, you can thank Tatis for that last year. So
yeah, it was a bummer, and for all the fantasy baseball teams I stashed them in. So that's a that's for another day. The fact that they move him to the outfield and sign Xander Bogaerts too, it's like, okay. But prediction time, since we're on the prediction road. AL MVP, who you got?
Well, we both have Shohei Ohtani, excuse me. And I honestly still, you said something about Trout being the best player that we've seen in our generation. I think Ohtani is slowly, not slowly, quickly creeping up on that. He might be the greatest baseball player I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
You can make that argument. Absolutely. You totally can. It's not,
and it would sound crazy with other people. It does not sound crazy to me. This man could literally go out and pitch, strike you the hell out, and then turn right around and go and hit the ball out of the damn park, and then go back to pitching again. Yeah, probably. I enjoy his talent and what he's doing for baseball. To see what Pedro Martinez said to him after the World Baseball Classic and saying, for all the baseball players that watch the game, love the game, we appreciate you so much and want to give you your flowers for what you're doing right now is absolutely amazing, because it is. It really, really is. And I don't think it gets talked about enough outside of baseball, but it really, really should, because what he's doing is phenomenal. So, Ohtani.
Yeah, he gets a lot of hype, and when he's on a national stage, the broadcasts like to really go in on it and overhype everything. Not overhype. I think because of that, he's almost underrated because of the amount of attention he gets. If a lot of people have said, and you saw it in the 9th inning of the last WBC game, like if he just concentrated on being a pitcher, he would be arguably one of the best pitchers of baseball. And he's not far off from there. I mean, he's Jacob deGrom, as any hits like a generational talent too. And he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. And he's going to break the bank.
Come on, Yankees.
And the Yankees famously were after him in 2018, but he wanted to stay on the West Coast. And who knows the approach now, but this guy wants to play. He took the ball in the 9th inning. It was not an easy lineup. And, you saw it. And again, he could easily make $60 million a year if everything pans out there, because he's a $30 million hitter and pitcher. It's just wild, dude.
AL Cy Young, Sam. Garrett Cole you have, and I have Jacob deGrom. Why do you have Cole?
I just think it's, he's been in the running for a while. He's never won a Cy Young. I think not enough people are talking about him, even though he's one of the better pitchers in majors. I just think it's his time. And I'm being a homer here.
Yeah, I'm not going to be a homer here, because I don't trust Garrett Cole anymore, and I haven't for quite some time. And that hurts my soul, being a Yankee fan. I know he's still an ace. I know he's still the ace of the team, but the eye test tells me I can't trust him right now. deGrom, I can't trust him for his body just breaking down on him, but when he is not broken down, he is the best pitcher in baseball. And I feel that he's going to have a bounce back year, especially being his first year in the AL. So I'm very, very curious to see what he does. But that is my AL Cy Young of the year.
I would hope that Jacob deGrom could be a Cy Young winner again. He's already hurt. I don't see it, man. I hope I'm wrong, because even like all of those great young pitchers the Mets had years and years ago, I always thought Jacob deGrom was the best one. And he didn't get the hype of Harvey or, Syndergaard, but I just always thought he was the best one. And, it's just a shame that he really hasn't pitched, but when he does pitch, the last couple of years, he's been great. So I hope you're right there. Rookie of the year, both have Anthony Volpe. I waxed poetic at the top of this segment about it. I don't have to go anymore. There's some other good young talent in the AL. The Yoshida, the Japanese outfielder that you saw him hit cleanup for the Japan team.
Red Sox, right?
He's on the Red Sox. Yep, he's going to play outfield. He's either going to lead off or bat fourth. So I mean, that's lineup's certainly not what it used to be, but it's a good place to hit. And the he's the real deal if you listen to scouts, and the Red Sox love him. So, I mean, we saw what he did WBC there too.
I remember the days the Yankees used to get damn near all the Japanese prospects. I miss those days. I got Volpe. I'd say it's the homer pick, as Sam has alluded to before, but I've watched him and watch what he's done and watch how he's been talked about, not only within New York, but outside of New York, and being the number 5 prospect in all of baseball, and how he's played and consistently carried himself. He has that demeanor of a champion already. And how the legends have spoken about him. They don't just clamor about anybody. So I'm putting a lot of stock into this young man, and I think he can absolutely pull this off. So
just what Aaron Judge has publicly said about him has got to get your attention. For sure. It's taken him under his wing, called him up after he got the news, called him and said, "So you're packing your bags to go to Scranton?" So it's just kind of, it seems like they're good rapport there, but just really good, humble kid. We had, he played baseball minutes from us for a whole season for the Hudson Valley Renegades. So it's just maybe just a closer to home pick here, but I just think sky's the limit. He's just he's gonna be special. I hope. MVP on the NL side, I'm going Trey Turner. That grand slam in the WBC was certainly something, but I just think his style of play in that ballpark, famously small ballpark, I think Trey Turner is going to explode this year. Bigger bases, he's already steals a ton. Hits for average, hits for power, really good second baseman. I just like I like the move for Philly, especially because they're just a bad defensive team, and I think he's going to win the MVP.
I have Juan Soto. He has Machado, and why the hell do I keep letting his name slip my mind?
Tatis.
Thank you. Surrounding him, I think he's going to absolutely tear up the NL. So I'm just waiting to see what happens with him. So
Walker too, going to be a free agent at the end of the year, and already getting a lot of some absurd figures are being thrown around of how much money he could make at the next season. Cy Young, I think I picked him last year too. Corbin Burns, the Brewers. He's incredible. Even when he was coming up, he had some control issues, but he's certainly harnessed that. Famously, the Brewers kind of did him dirty during arbitration, kind of said a lot of things. Arbitration is a tough process for anyone, but these players take it really seriously. I don't think he's long to be with the Brewers. They're not a very good team, but he's a special kind of talent, and if he's not traded at the deadline, he'll certainly be traded in the offseason. But there's no love lost there. He's I mentioned scorched earth recently. I just think Corbin Burns is gonna have a big year and be a Cy Young winner again.
Max Scherzer for me. Just always like Max, like his demeanor. He's kind of a dick at times, and I like that about him. But his stuff is filthy. It continues to be filthy even as he gets older. That's why I have so much respect for Verlander, who was my original choice. Because those two they're ageless wonders in my opinion. They can just pitch. I don't care. Verlander's velocity drop. Scherzer's has dropped a little bit, but his stuff was always playing off of his fastball, which was absolutely filthy.
Yeah.
And he's going to continue to do that. So Scherzer for me.
Yeah. You get rid of DeGrom, you add Justin Verlander, even though he's significant 4 or 5 years older. He's a legend. He's first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. So I think it'll be fun to watch the both of them pitch in Queens there. But Rookie of the Year, I was going back and forth between this pick here. Came up as a third baseman, gonna probably just play the outfield. Jordan, because of some guy named Nolan Arenado, but Jordan Walker. I think he's the number 4 prospect in all of baseball. He's got crazy power, big dude, can fly. Had a really good spring until he got hurt a little bit, and didn't quite rebound enough, but has made the opening day roster and will probably have that left field job, even though there's a lot of outfielders in St. Louis, and will have that job unless he doesn't perform. But this guy's got uber talent. I would say my runner-up would be Corbin Carroll, who just signed a huge deal with the Diamondbacks. 1 or 2 number overall pick, depending on who you ask. But this kid can fly, good defensive player. I like him too. He's probably the favorite to win Rookie of the Year, but I've been sending you Jordan Walker clips all off season. I'm really, really excited about this kid. So
that's the reason I made my choice, just solely off of Sam sending me stuff. I don't know too much about him, but I'm sure I will. And I really didn't have anybody else to choose, to be completely transparent. So Jordan Walker it is.
Yeah, there you go. Baseball season underway on Thursday, so I'm sure we'll dabble in some baseball news as the season gets underway. But always a great time of the year. We have Masters coming up next weekend, some big Formula One races, UFC, basketball playoffs, which we're gonna get into right now. And our Rangers are doing really well too. But quick NBA news. We want to talk about the playoffs only being a couple weeks away and kind of how everything stands as of right now. But just some NBA news. Finally, KD, Kevin Durant, expected to make his son's home debut Wednesday, today, whatever, against the Timberwolves. So he suffered. You remember? I know you remember, Brandon. He got this freak sprain while doing warm-ups on March 8th, and he missed the last 10 games. But when he was on the floor for Phoenix, he was just doing absurd Kevin Durant things, and he's just just shows you why he's the best. So what do you expect with Kevin Durant? Only a handful of games left in the season. What, like 9 or 10 games, if that, left in the season? What do you expect from?
What do you think Durant? I expect? Let's start there. What do you think I expect?
I think you're going to say he's the best, one of the best mid-range shooters of all time.
He's one of the best scorer of all time, if not the best scorer of all time. Yeah. And, so I'm not worried about what Kevin Durant is going to do. Because Kevin Durant that's his love. It's all his whole time in Brooklyn, even with all the Kyrie situation going on. Kevin played throughout it all. He came over hurt. He played throughout it all. And the only time he didn't play is when he was hurt. But when he played, just like anywhere else he played. When he was able to, he could. So he's going to average what he's going to average. He's pretty much unstoppable. When he shoots a jump shot, he's pretty much 7'2", and that's damn near impossible to stop. So Kevin is just going to do Kevin things. Is it
enough time, you think, for the Suns to kind of? I mean, there's endless talent on this.
You're saying roster, it for the Suns to gel
with Kevin Durant. I mean, in 3 games, they've won all 3 of the games that he played in, right? And he almost had 27 points, absurd 70% shooting in those games. We know how good Kevin Durant is. You think it's enough time? What do you expect from the Suns in the West? I know it's every day is an adventure there, but you think it's enough time for that?
I mean, I don't think it's enough time for the role players to really gel. I don't think it's going to be an issue really for Kevin, Chris Paul, and D Book. They've played together on what you call Olympic teams, so they have that familiarity. That's one of the reasons why Kevin wanted to go there, is because he had that familiarity with Booker and CP3 and what they already have built. I mean, you have DeAndre Ayton there, so I think with just the starting pieces, I don't think there's going to be an issue. I think it's just with the role players and how that's going to mesh, and Monty creating the lineups for the playoffs. That part is going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But I think all in all, when you have talent like that, with just D-Book and KD alone, I think you can get through a lot because they're not mental cases. They both love to ball. So that I don't think there's going to be an issue. Let's go to his former teammate, Ben Simmons. Lovely old Ben Simmons is back in the news with the Nets, and not for good reason. The Nets are shutting Ben Simmons down for the rest of the season. Jacque Vaughn said on Tuesday, Ben will not be joining us the rest of the year and through the playoffs after practice. So Simmons hasn't played with the Nets since the final game before the All-Star break last month because of nerve issues in his back. He's missed a total of 33 games this season with knee and back injury. And as of now, the Nets said they don't expect him to need surgery this summer. Now, as a Nets fan and having this guy on a team, I'm truly concerned with him mentally because this is not the only team that he's done this with. He's done it with the Sixers, and it's just crazy to see a guy that was an all-star caliber, damn near MVP, turn out to be like this. Now, I know he was engaged. He was going through a situation that he's no longer. He was going through the trauma, having to go back with the Sixers and hearing everybody, Philly fans, talking about him and his injuries, not playing, playing with Kevin and Kyrie and not playing at all. You have all this money thrown at you. The Nets went out and took a chance on you to fit in there, and you just consistently do not play. I don't know if Ben, I've said it before, I don't know if he's mentally here and willing to play basketball anymore. I think he might need to step away from the game. If I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know what's going on with him, but he does not sound like he's committed to basketball right now. And if it's truly because of injuries this much, I don't know what he needs to do to get his body right outside of conditioning and really get with somebody in that and mobility wise. But I'm over the Ben Simmons situation. I was optimistic and hoping, because I always hope for somebody to get a second chance, but I could give a damn less what Ben Simmons does now. And I hope he just retires so the Nets don't have to worry about him. So, yeah.
Certainly I think we have both said and would say now, obviously his mental health is, top priority here. But, is it just it feels weird to even speculate, but like, certainly he has, you mentioned knee and back injuries, right? But like, is it just the hurdle of trying to come back from these games? Like, is it imposter syndrome in a way where he just kind of doesn't feel like he can do this? It's so strange. It's the second team this has happened. He really hasn't played any meaningful basketball since that playoff series against the Heat, right? Was it the Heat? The Celtics? What was that series where he was like with the 76ers,
I think it was the Heat.
Yeah, I think it was the Heat.
I think it was the Heat,
missing those layups and
yeah, he passed it when he had a wide open layup.
Yeah, it's just like since then we have not seen Ben Simmons play meaningful basketball. It's wild. And you mentioned almost winning an MVP. He almost won an MVP and he can't shoot. That's why, like, how good do you need to be to almost win an MVP and not be able to hit a three in today's basketball,
or shoot a two-pointer at that?
Yeah, to be a mid-range shooter.
Yeah,
I mean, he survives on he's survived on great defense and
attacking
driving, driving to the lane, like, and you don't see any of the limited amount of time he was on the floor. You don't see any of that. I mean,
he was pretty damn near the All-Star break. At one point, he was damn near unstoppable. That combo with him and Ben Simmons was unstoppable at one point in time. It's just, I don't know. I think everything just finally got to him, and he let the outside world affect him, which I can't ever speak on that because I'm not him. I don't have millions of people watching me on TV and talking about me, so can't ever speak to that. But it's at least not yet. But yeah, that's I'm over this whole Ben Simmons situation, and I'm sure a lot of basketball fans are just over it in general. It's just, either you're playing or you're not. And if you're not mentally there to play, then just retire. But I know it, to me, it just feels like a money grab at this point. It just doesn't feel right. So,
yeah, obviously want him to do what's best for him, but he's signed a max deal, and I think it'd be pretty hard to walk away from $30 million annually.
Yeah.
I don't know how long he's got left on that deal, but I think it's a couple years. So yeah, wish him the best. But I was going to originally ask, what do you think? Can he ever regain this, get back to what even we saw a couple years ago? And I agree with you. If this was a Do You Care segment, as a basketball player, I just don't care about Ben Simmons. He's a non-factor. He was thrown into that Harden deal just to make the money work and see if they, a new scenery can help the talent that he has. And, hopefully he gets better and feels more confident, and maybe he could help this team or another team. But yeah, I don't buy it. I don't see it. But speaking of the East, I mean, we'll get into kind of playoffs only a couple weeks away. The playing games start April 11th through April 14th, and round one of the playoffs begins Saturday, April 15th. And right now, just looking at the 7 through 10 seeds, these would be the bubble teams, the teams that would play in the play-in: Miami Heat, Atlanta Hawks, Toronto Raptors, and the Bulls. And certainly, you could throw in there the Wizards, the Pacers, and the Magic. They're all about 21 and a half games behind first place, but it kind of seems like it's sealed in the East. That'll be these 4 teams in the playoffs. And of course, the Bucks and Celtics leading the way record-wise. 76ers, Cavs, Knicks, and the Nets right now at the 6th seed, even though will probably interchange with Miami at this point. So thoughts on the East or any potential matchups as of right now, March 28th?
Are you asking me potential matchups for the play-in or for the playoffs?
Yeah, who do you think what do you think the final 4, if you will, in the East look like here? Again, I just mentioned either the Nets or the Heat, Hawks, Raptors, and Bulls. You feel pretty confident about that?
Yeah. I don't really trust any of the teams that are in contention as the Wizards, the Pacers, or Magic. I don't trust them in getting up. I mean, but Chicago really hasn't been playing great. There's a lot going on, especially with the Lonzo Ball situation. Yeah, Zach LaVine not really wanting to be there, and him and his problems with the front office. I mean, DeRozan is just essentially stuck there. It's crazy that we don't even hear about him.
Yeah, talk about him.
It's sad. The Raptors, to see what they used to be. I mean, they're like, what, 4 years removed from winning a championship, and then still having some of those pieces and just being a 9 seed. The Hawks, you got what's my man's name? Why am I losing names today? I don't know what the hell is going on in my head, but Trae Young, and his whole situation down there with Atlanta, and just seeing, like, it's crazy to see what they had when they played the Knicks in that now infamous series of the ice cold and shivering and showing up Knicks fans, which is fun to see that. But I don't know. I think the only one that it can be interchangeable really here is the Nets and the Heat, and that depends on what the Nets decide to do and what the Heat try to do, because it's time that the Heat wake up and start to play. But I also, again, I love the Nets young core, but I don't know. I don't know if they have enough to outlast the Heat in their push, but we'll see. Yeah.
I mean, if you're the Nets, I like this young new Nets team like you do. I mean, you're kind of just playing with house money at this point. You didn't expect to still, if the playoffs were today, you wouldn't even be in the play-in game. Like that's great. Mm-hmm. Just you're playing with house money. So, we'll see there. The number 8 seed would play the Bucks right now. So if there were no play-ins, it'd be the Hawks and the Bucks. Celtics would play the number 7 seed, which would be either the Nets or the Heat. So there's that, and 76ers Nets and Cavs Knicks would be the other matchups as of today. So it's pretty it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun basketball on both conferences here. I know we spent a lot of time talking about the West and how interchangeable all that is and the talent. LeBron's back now playing with the Lakers. Do they have enough? Can they turn around in a couple weeks? But the East is sneaky good. Like, I mean, the Bucks just won the title. Celtics, you could have made the argument, could have won the title. 76ers, how come they haven't won a title? I like what the Cavs have done, like, how the Knicks are playing. Like anything could happen, but these teams are have some of the best players in the league on it and just have been playing really well. So I think it'll be fun on that regard. If we go over to the West, though, Nuggets have a 3.5 game lead on the Grizzlies. Grizzlies continuing to play. Now they have Ja Morant back, and Sacramento Kings, who saw that coming, but they're the 3 seed. Suns 4 seed. Clippers 5 seed, and the Timberwolves are right there as a 6 seed. And then this is where it gets interesting. Golden State would be the 7th seed as of right now, and then New Orleans right behind them, the Lakers and the Thunder, and certainly the Mavs and the Jazz are right within striking distance too of those playing games. So this could be completely different at the end of the week, as we've been saying all year, but it's really shaping up to be a fun last couple weeks in the NBA calendar, and as the season's been pretty much all year. That was a segue to you.
That was cool, Sam. What
I do wrong?
You did nothing wrong. You did nothing
wrong.
Why are you laughing at me? Jeez. Oh my gosh. Sam, hush. So with the West, I'm so
you told me the hush.
So intrigued. Yes, I could have said way worse. Hush was nice.
That's fair. It is.
Goodness gracious. It's still going. This guy. Yeah, I love what's going on in the West. It's literally the separation of a couple games, a game and a half, a game. This is going to be a wild ride as we wait to see what is going to happen and who is going to fill out the playing game. Knowing that Portland basically sat Dame is done for the rest of the year, which there's no point to playing Dame to have him potentially get injured. I know he wants to play, but there's no need to have him do that at all. I'm ready to watch the show. I have my popcorn ready. I'm ready to watch the show because this is going to be a circus. But seeing that the Golden State Warriors have the chance, like they just need to get into the tournament. That's all they need, is to get into the tournament. I don't know which team we're gonna get. I think missing Andrew Wiggins with his crazy situation. I think that he's a key piece to them potentially going back. The Pelicans, I mean, you don't know what you're getting with Zion, if he's going to be healthy or not. Again, he could be on the outside looking in at the Pelicans in the playoffs. Lakers, that's the team that everybody wants to see what's going to happen there, is the Lakers and what they do. But also another team is the Mavs. You went out and got Kyrie, and people are blaming Kyrie as if it's his fault, but the Mavs were bad before this. You have Luka, and they might end up losing Luka soon because they haven't been able to put the pieces together. They had Jalen Brunson, who's doing his thing with the Knicks. You went and got Kyrie, and you still aren't doing anything. And I think it's really surrounding pieces, and they lost a lot of good pieces. So I'm just intrigued, Sam. I'm curious to see what is going to happen. For sure, I'm really just interested to see what happens with the Lakers and the Warriors. That's what I'm really looking at for sure.
Yeah, the history of these teams, the recent history and the talent that's on these teams, certainly, you're never going to count them out. But time's running out, so be interested to see that. But yeah, as you mentioned, anywhere from like, the Suns are 11 games back as a 4 seed, and Oklahoma City is 14 games back as a 10 seed. Hell, the Jazz are 16 games back. So 5 games separate 4 through 12. Like, one bad slide by, one of these teams that we would assume is a lock, and all of a sudden they're playing a playing game. And I really like the play-in format for this. The 1 game elimination kind of brings, even more urgency to it in a league, in a game where the playoffs drag on forever. As I mentioned, April 15th is the official start of the playoffs if you don't consider these bubble teams in, and the finals don't start till June 1st. So the NBA playoffs are its own season, but I like this sense of kind of urgency with these playing games. They're a lot of fun to watch.
Cool. I'm ready.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, no, do you care this week? We went a little long, but thank you so much for hanging out with us and the Chasing Points podcast. Make sure to tell your friends, leave us a nice review on Apple Podcasts, and give us those 5 stars. It really goes a long way in helping people find our podcast. So we appreciate all of that. So for Brandon, my name's Sam. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
It's getting warm outside. Bye, winter. I hate you.